So my question then rolls back to you. What type of leader are you, and how did you end up where you are? If you are dealing with a colleague at work, if you are dealing with a spouse, if you are in a bad financial situation, my question to you is, before you get upset with your colleague, before you get upset with your financial situation, before you get upset with your spouse, how did you end up here? And how did you contribute to you ending up here? Hey, family. This is Jay Willis coming back with another episode of Wealth is a Journey podcast. Guys, this is episode 138. 138 weeks of consistency, 138 weeks of getting it done. We outside. Guys, I just wanted to say thank you again. As always, I like to start the podcast by thanking anybody who's sent an encouraging word, commented, liked, shared any of this information that's going out to the masses. We definitely appreciate you. We are growing, just getting different opportunities to speak to different audiences. And I am so appreciative of it. Just to think back 138 weeks ago, the fear, the fear of judgment, like what am I going to talk about all this time, and am I going to make it to episode 10? And just to look back, 138 weeks is a phenomenal thing, and I thank God just for the power of perseverance and just keeping going when I didn't feel like it, and when I was down on myself, or whatever the case may be. And I'm just grateful. So thank you for tuning in. If you are a first time listener, watcher, or subscriber, thank you so much for joining us. On this podcast, we talk about faith, family, and finances, among other things. If you are a return listener, watcher, or subscriber, thank you so much for joining us again. Hopefully, we are adding value to your lives on the way to the M's, because we are 1000% on the way to the M's. And if you're asking, hey, well, what exactly are the M's, Che Willis? I will tell you. We're talking about millions. We are on our way to millions. How are we going to get there? We're going to reduce our expenses, and we are going to invest at a rapid pace. That's exactly how we're going to do what we're talking about. So, if you don't know, um, one of the benefits of doing this podcast is that other people see the podcast. And as a result of me doing this podcast, I had the opportunity to be involved with this thing called the Launcher Program. Long and short, the Launcher Program basically is a program for beginning entrepreneurs and people who are established entrepreneurs who want to do entrepreneurship better. Uh, the program helps you get funding by being connected to different banks and different lending institutions. They help you with your business credit. They help you with your personal credit. Have different speakers come in. It's a 14-week program. I'm all over the place, but it's a 14-week program, and we meet once a week after work, and then we go through the curriculum, and then at the end you get a business plan. So a business plan helps you get funding and all the different things, and you learn just how to be a better entrepreneur, so then you can scale, bring more money back into the economy, and help your neighborhood and your wherever your business is. So I was asked to be an instructor for this launcher program as a result of me doing this podcast, and I'm super grateful for that opportunity. Now, the last year and a half, I was a co-instructor. So first of all, shout out to Janae Kareem. That's my guy. We were co-instructors together down in Dover, for two cohorts. So I learned a lot from him, things that he was doing, things that I could maybe do a little different. That basically went into my my style of teaching. And just to think to yourself that I'm a teacher, or think to myself that I'm a teacher now, is insane. Anyway, that's a whole nother story for another day. But in this program, I learned a lot from Janaid and a lot of game from him. And I just wanted to say thank you to him personally for putting a word in for me being an instructor of my own class in Newcastle, this cohort. So, specifically talking about this class, they are super engaged, super locked in, and they are getting a lot from them. They're getting a lot from me, and I'm getting a lot from them by being their instructor. One of the questions that I asked them early on in this program is, what type of leader are you? And I want you to ask yourself that. And I'm going to ask you that actually. What type of leader are you? Because there are many different leaders out there. And in order for you to be a leader, you have to be tough, meaning that if something happens, are you going to crawl up in the bed with your head up under the covers and cry and boohoo and fold if tough times come and difficulty comes? Or are you going to be that leader that says, okay, well, we have a challenge, you take it for what it is, and you face it head on? And the students in this class, those are the type of people who are going to face challenges head on, because the type of leader that I am, I just like to face things head on. I like to get past it. And once I recognize that there's an issue, I like to face it head on and get over it. Now, was I always like that? Absolutely not. But as a leader, I believe that you grow into being a leader. And then as you're paying attention to what's going on outside or around you, you then become a better leader by paying attention to different challenges that you face. And then you think to yourself, okay, well, how did I end up here in the first place? And not just that, how did I end up here? How did I contribute to me ending up here? So, what I want to talk about today is, what type of leader are you, and how did you create this monster? So, a real quick story that I'm going to go into is, um, I allowed some provisions to happen in my class. And in this class, I'm not going to go into what exactly it was, but I allowed some things to happen in the class, just trying to make things easier for the students. Now, when I did this, it made it difficult for me in class to be able to focus on what I'm teaching, because there were some things going on in the background that I allowed to happen, because I was trying to make it easier for them, but then it was making it harder for me to focus and concentrate and give them 100% of my attention. So one morning, I get a text message from one of the students saying, "Hey, blah 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 blah," and it set me off. Just being completely honest, I was upset. I was like, "Yo, like, why?" And then I thought to myself, "What kind of leader are you? And what did you do to contribute to you being here upset?" So then after it took me like maybe 10 minutes or so. It might have been longer than that. But it took me a little bit of time. And then once I kind of calmed down and realized, hey, this is your fault. It's your fault that you ended up here, and it's your fault that you're upset. It's not their fault, it's yours. So I sent the message out to the group, hey, moving forward, this is the way that we're going to conduct class, communication, so forth and so on. And I felt a lot better because I found a problem and I faced it head on. Now, I used ChatGPT to articulate what I was trying to say, because when I was typing out the message, it didn't sound right and it sounded like I was upset, which I was. But at the same time, I used ChatGPT to help me to construct this text message so it didn't come off a way, even though it was my fault that I felt this way in the first place. So, my question then rolls back to you. What type of leader are you, and how did you end up where you are? If you are dealing with a colleague at work, if you are dealing with a spouse, if you are in a bad financial situation, my question to you is, before you get upset with your colleague, before you get upset with your financial situation, before you get upset with your spouse, how did you end up here? And how did you contribute to you ending up here? What's going on, family? My name is Che Willis, the medicine to your financial headache, and I help families living paycheck to paycheck live the life that they want to live through financial planning and wealth management. Did you know that the number one cause for divorce is money fights and money problems? If you are struggling financially with your spouse, you have come to the right place. We have an online course, we have a community, and we have one on one coaching that can help you live your best financial life and cut down on a lot of the money fights that you and your spouse are currently having. So if you are struggling, please make sure that you go to wealthisajourney.com to fix the issues that you guys are having currently surrounding money. A lot of us were never taught, and that's okay. But if you know that you need help, do not stay stuck. It's time to start living your best financial life with your spouse starting today. So go to wealthisajourney.com so we can start living your best financial life starting today. Let's go. We really need to take some self-reflection, and we really need to take some accountability for the things and the what's happening in our lives. Now, I understand that 100% of the things that happen to you aren't necessarily your fault, but then you also need to ask yourself, how did I end up here? And did I contribute, right, wrong, or indifferent? Did I contribute to me ending up here? And a lot of the times, if we really sit and think about it, we did have a part to play in where we ended up. If you're dating the wrong people, again, if you're in a bad financial situation, if you are being constantly disrespected by friends and family and things of that nature, we really need to self-reflect. And one of the things that I love about this podcast and just being on a journey is it forces you, if you're trying to get better, it forces you to self-reflect. And as you self-reflect, you learn areas of opportunity for you to get better as a person. And it causes you to put your pride aside and say, okay, well, how did I contribute to this? What part did I play? So I do a lot of apologizing, because if I come off a way, or if I say something to my wife or whatever and it doesn't sound right and she gets upset, I may get upset too, because she's upset with me. But then after I relax, I realize, hey, you had a part to play in her being upset. So you need to apologize. So again, I'm going to ask you, wherever you are in your journey, wherever you are in your life, what part did you play in ending up here? And you may say, well, I didn't know about finances if you were in a bad financial state. And that may be true. But at the very least, if you are trying to build wealth, right? What do you need to build wealth? You need money. How do you make money, or how do you create more money? You can either get another job, you can sell a product or a service, or you can reduce your expenses. Because again, I talk about it all the time on this podcast, you can't invest money that you don't have. And in order for you to build wealth, you 1000% have to invest. Like, there's no way around that. So my encouragement to you today is to reflect on where you are in life. And if you don't like where you are, that's fine. But we have to kind of reverse engineer where we are and how we got there. and it's going to take some self-reflection, excuse me, and it's not going to be just like an easy thing. It's going to cause you to have to think about like what were the events that happened to get me here. So you're going to have to do some digging, but I'm going to tell you it is time well spent because again on this journey you're laying a foundation for yourself, but you're also laying a foundation for other people around you. Because once you achieve a level of success in any area, whether it's work or money or having longevity in your marriage, the foundation that you're laying down is a blueprint for you to be able to help other people in said area. So it's going to make sense for you to not necessarily document the process, but really reflect and think about how you ended up where you are, do some digging, and think about certain events that happened that got you to where you are. And I could have, like many people, got upset, stayed upset for a long time in my class, got to the class, had an attitude with the students, and then if they did it again, not said anything to them, and then further had an attitude with the students when it was my fault that it was happening in the first place. And a lot of times, if we're really being honest, a lot of the things that we continuously get upset about because we didn't say anything to the person that's making us upset, we continue to allow it to happen. And when we continue to allow it to happen, then we have an attitude. And then the person comes to us like, yo, what's wrong with you? Nothing, but you're lying. Something is wrong, but it's really something wrong with you because if you don't say anything, then that means you're a glutton for punishment and you are being passive aggressive by not saying something to the person that's bothering you, but it's not their fault that it's bothering you, it's your fault. And we're not off of money. Like it has something to do with money because still if you are upset about your financial situation, you really have to reverse engineer of why you're upset um your financial situation. And if you don't like it, here's good news. Come closer. Here's good news. You can change your financial situation if you don't like it. How about that? You can change it. Now, if you don't believe you can change it, you will not change it. But if you believe that you can change your situation, I promise you, you can. I told you the story before about how I grew up um, not knowing about investing. I grew up not knowing how to budget. I grew up not knowing how to build wealth. But because along my journey, I believed that I could build wealth. I believed that I could save money. I believed that I can reduce my expenses. I believe that I can invest. Then the God started giving me plans and started getting me around different people and things started happening for me and my family that got me not where I want to be today, but got me closer to where I wanted to be today. So if you have the idea that it'll never happen for you, you are absolutely right because it won't. But I'm here to tell you if you'll pay attention and you'll see where you may have gone wrong in your life or the decisions and the choices that you made, you can 1000% change it and you're never too old. At the very least, you can tell somebody else that is taking the road that you're taking currently and letting them know that they can change it and here's how to do it. So again, this is Wealth is a Journey podcast, but again, I said it before, it's not all building wealth is not all about money. A lot of it is about mindset, perspective, how you move, and things of that nature. And you need a strong mindset, and you need to pay attention to what's going on around you in order for you to build any type of wealth. And you building wealth is going to require you, it's a requirement for you to grow and to be a different person than you are right now. I'm a way different person than I was a year ago or 2 years ago. And I recognize that. And people may not be happy with you that you're changing, and that's okay because everybody can't go along with you. However, you are required to change, and you have to be okay with that. Because again, you cannot be wealthy, you cannot be the person that you want to be or in the position that you want to be in your current state. It is a constant evolving, it's a constant growing that you're going to have to do to get to where you want to be. And you got to be okay with that. So that's the episode. I thought that the lesson that I learned during this week was going to be impactful for you because I thought back to when I used to get upset with my wife and different coworkers and different people. But as I thought about it, it was my fault because I allowed the things to go on. And then they would ask me, "Yo, what's wrong with you?" Nothing. I was lying. Something was wrong, but it was my fault. So I just thought that based on that helping me, I thought that that would help you as well. So that's the episode. How did you create this monster and what are you going to do about it? Wealth is a journey. We will see you next week. Peace.